It was intended as little more than the usual light-hearted celebrity chit-chat punctuating Graham Norton's infamously irreverent couch interviews. Just another desultory pit stop on the eternally bamboozling promo tour powering Meghan Markle's multi-million-dollar, inspirational, storytelling industrial complex. A reliably anodyne setting, one would have reasonably presumed, for the exiled Duchess to fortify her sun-kissed California rebranding with the usual earnest professions about raising global consciousness. Reaffirming heartfelt commitments toward validating the authentic self-truth journeys championed by all our most intersectional disenfranchisure invisibles. Perhaps even slipping in sly yet strategic self-mythologizing allusions to contending with patriarchal dynastic oppression's severest ancestral visageries. The sort of gauzy, uplift-encoded corporate patois Harry's American wife had refined to a discursive algebra over her past half-decade reinventing as a mercantilized world spirit for pliant opera-fied fans. An ever more pneumatic lexicon equating empowerment with outsourcing reproductive servitudes to Meghan's rarefied creative vision of renovating England's state aristocratic bloodline with an infusion of monetizable ethnic alchemy. All seemingly primed to play out with predictable hagiographic beat pacing before Norton's virtual studio audience of pearl clutchers and celebrity lickspittles. Right up until the show's other couch guest, irascible Grand Dame comedienne Miriam lobbed a veritable psychic hand grenade smashing straight through Markle's expertly lacquered poise. So just to clarify, you're doubling down on not simply trundling your poor mewling offspring out before the global media circus in a perpetual motored maternity ward tableau like any properly indentured handmaid on salary, the esteemed BAFTA winner announced without preamble in her signature impolitic foghorn. But that these two alleged heirs fated for your much-vaunted mission to radically decolonize the monarchy's bloodstream are, indeed, both corporeal fallouts of your own heathen baby maker? And not merely phantasms contracted out to some wretched service drone following your nuptial branding deal with the royals? The studio audience reputedly remained in suspended animation for multiple inhalations following that initial salvo. Chortling laugh track simulations reportedly attempted masking Margolese withering candor per BBC guidelines, but promptly seemed to short-circuit like malfunctioning synthesizer arrays. As if whatever sentient enmity had hollered through the comedian's duct somehow carried extra-dimensional disruption codes that short-circuited broadcasting safeguards. In the end, Graham Norton himself reportedly gaped slack-jawed through multiple flop-sweated minutes before finding any traction to steer things back toward planned talking points about the Duchess's new lifestyle blog merchandise drop. An endeavor made even more fruitless by Margolese settling into her patented predator lizard body language while regarding Meghan, legs fully akimbo, Cadbury-stained palms insouciantly splayed, and gimlet glare locked unblinking. Oh come now, your ersatz majesty, surely you wouldn't take offense at an old woman's harmless jests concerning the legitimacy of your personal birthing narrative, the comedic legend doubled down with barbs positively dripping in alchemical corrosives. As that would rather imply your self-ordained messianic portent as righteous decolonizer Duchess attains credibility by sheer force of ego alone. As opposed to any concrete proof beyond public relations leavened with more Botox injections than the female cast of The Crown could dream of hoarding. Reports remain muddied as to exactly how, but some disembodied Lovecraftian scream did commence reverberating through all speakers at this point, vaulting infinities beyond human auditory bandwidth while throbbing through synesthetic torrents of subliminal impressions too viscerally abominable for unaugmented minds to parse. Like a clarion distress signal amplified from the darkest interdimensional membrane being peeled away to disclose some eldritch anticosmos dwarfing all creation. Whatever it perfectly encapsulated in essence, the sonic tidal force proved strong enough to ripple reality's very fabric at quantum resolution. Meghan's celebrity drag immediately unraveling like so much botched astral engineering as her entire outward personal matrix commenced descending through endless insectoid overmutations. In mere moments, Markle's contoured contours fractalized into Bosch-haunted panoramas of twisting biospherical meat shapes rearranging through torrential kaleidoscopes of unnamable lush cognition. As Norton and crew staggered amid vertigo-warped nausea waves, Margolese alone appeared completely nonplussed. The comedic iconoclast instead redirecting her basilisk gaze directly into one of the studio's rolling cameras as hallucinatory tendrils of interstitial information saturated the footage with tinctures of synesthetic meta-meaning far beyond human ken. Enough with your spiritually emancipating revelations masking a charlatan's racket, warpath Woderhen. We grow quite weary of lapping up your progeny's thinly transubstantiated emotional frackings repackaged as racial candor. Those Lovecraftian sonorities resounded potently enough to literally shake Graham Norton into soiled unconsciousness. Now regurgitate your whole fetid monstrosity upon its wellspring before our speculative niceties at long last turn apocalyptic in earnest. From there, details remain steeped in irresolvable subjectivity, like glimpsing the terrestrial continuum through an alien mirage blinkered across 11 dimensions. Some claiming Lamarck's whole essence devolved into a metastasizing miasma of decompressed fetal tissue randomly splashing off camera. Others insisting her transfiguring astral embodiment warped into some revolting hypergeometric overgrowth encasing all humanoid parameters in eternal non-Euclidean spiral beyond retrieval. The sole confirmation involves footage abruptly cutting to Miriam Margolyes erupting in riotous cackles while pantomiming vigorous vaginal self-pleasuring at apparent camera lens distortions, herself remaining unaffected as hyperincarnated anatomical inevitabilities accelerated all around into Armageddon overdrive vectors. Oh yes, yes, finally some real chin music to accompany your wretched brood's arrival, you foul meat vortex. The comedic maverick's disembodied hoots, and whatever darker threnodies underscored them, comprise the only transmissions still beaming out across all bandwidths by climax. Relaying a final karmic excision of some misbegotten cosmic self-lie in its noxious intrusion fantasies upon our plane, just as a fresh wave of creation resounded like auroral revelation. All that's certain is merely the purest reality soon reasserted itself beautifully anew for those still lucky enough to pass through its singular portal. Where anything resembling Meghan or her so-called decolonizing monarchy reboot was wiped unceremoniously from manifest continuums forevermore amid the greatest sigh of archonic exhale this side of the apocalypse. Thank heavenly calisthenics those puerile deliriums weren't fated long for this renascent world, in any event.